Hi guys, how's it going? I'm Samantha, I'm from Australia, and this is my first booktube video. I only discovered booktube last week when I was looking for reviews for the host to see if I could find people that liked it too. Apparently no one does. To recommend other books to me that I might enjoy, and that's how I found the tier ranking systems. I think it's just a brilliant idea. I love the idea not only of doing a tier ranking system of my own so I can connect to readers that like things like me, and to put a bit more love out there for books that people might not have heard of that they might like, but also because I want to be part of a community again, and Goodreads is just a bit too much for me. Like, I am on Goodreads and I've started updating progress lately because I've finally started getting back into reading again, but it's when I joined too many groups and followed too many things, and now if you look at my notifications for Goodreads, it's at 2,969. Like, that is insane. So it's just too overwhelming. But booktube I can listen to when I'm doing my makeup in the morning or cleaning the house once the kids are gone. So yeah, this seems like the community for me. So just putting it out there. I don't know how I'm gonna focus on growing this channel because I am a writer, so I spend a lot of time doing that. I'm also a huge part of our local theatre scene. I'm writing an original musical right now that's supposed to be going on this year, but it's not because of that shall not be named. So I'm very time poor, but still, this seems like if I'm going to get back into the reading community, this is the way to go. Would love to connect with some other readers from Australia that are in my age group. And that is another reason why I'm here. I haven't read as many books as a lot of these booktubers have. Like, recently, I've read thousands of books in my life, but and I'm not as on trend, but I do have almost 40 years of reading experience and have seen through a lot of trends, so I think I have a pretty good eye for what's timeless, and I hope very much to find people just like me. Anyway, I'm going to start off with this tier ranking list. I saw it done best, well, most memorably by the book Belle. I have watched all of them, and I'm going to link her name in the description because that's how I found it. I believe that's what you're supposed to do, but I'm very much a L plate in Australia. That's like a learner on booktube, so be patient and give me a shout out if you think that we could connect over some books. Here we go. Okay, I'm just gonna get straight into this because if I keep waiting for conditions to be exactly right, this will never happen. Just excuse my family if my kids get in an argument or if my mother starts talking about the Powerball again. They're not used to me YouTubing. I have gone with the normal tier maker list that all the other booktubers have used, and I've used very similar lists. I've got God, demigod, great, good, okay, and not for me. Just a warning, this is an unpopular opinion list. I've noticed that my opinions differ from a lot of other people's, and I think that's fine. I hope that's fine with everybody there too. For as far as I'm concerned, books are something very personal, very, very personal. Not just the subject or the genre, but every word can mean something completely different to one person and does another. As a reviewer, I tend to err on the side of positive. I'm the cheerleader for all writers and storytellers out there. So I am going to try to see the best in everything. That's why I don't have a trash tier. I don't think, well, I could refer to a book as trash, but I wouldn't do it publicly. I don't think, just because I know as a writer how much that can sting. All right, so I'm just going to go straight into it. My first book I have, and just be warned, like I said, this is unpopular, is Twilight. For me, that's going in the God tier. Look, I totally understand why people think it's problematic, and I don't care. I loved this. Was an experience, this series for me. I was not a fan of Breaking Dawn because I was Team Edward, and I can see why people have all issues with that, but I don't care. I love the books, I love the movies, I love Breaking Dawn, and every time I watch Breaking Dawn, I just start at the end when they roll the credits and play the song. I just a mess. So yeah, Twilight will always be God tier for me because it had what I'm always looking for in a book, is a triumphant ending and a beautiful ensemble cast. I will say that my son's actually named Kellen James after Kellen Lutz and Kellen Kyle in a different book series. That's another genre altogether. But yeah, no, Twilight is God tier for me. I reread it, I rewatch it, and I recommend it. Again, my kids are into it too. So that's just how we're gonna roll here. I think Twilight's God. Not for me. Tempest Rising. This actually hurts because I am a huge fan of mermaids and stuff like that, but I have really struggled to find series I can really connect to. Tempest Rising is a beautifully written book, and for YA, I can see how it would totally hold the thrills for me that it should. very Disney in some ways, but it's an underwater mermaid story, and I prefer when my mermaids come up onto land a lot more. I don't know why. I don't know why. It's just how it is. I like my mermaids above the surface a lot. So Tempest Rising's not for me that, and because it's a bit too young. Next one, The Wrath and the Dawn. This was a beautifully written series. I'm going to put it right there in great. I haven't read the whole series, though I will eventually get to book 2. I have only read book 1 at this point. I remember it being an experience too. I loved it. I love the little details in it, the glamour behind all the sadness, and that is why it's not God or demigod for me, because it is a pretty depressing story, and I'm not one of those people who read to get us out. I like it when a book can make me cry, but more than anything else, I'm looking for an adventure or some fun or some cheap thrills for my books. So that's only going to go in great, but that might change when I read the second book. Throne of Glass. Not for me. I feel bad saying that. I did actually read these with a lot of enthusiasm. I think I'm up to the 4th one, and it was a well written series, but it's not for me. I'm not a high fantasy person, and there was just so much high fantasy going on, and there was so much world building, and if you didn't read it back to back and possibly over and over again like I did, and I just listen to it on audiobook, I think it's a lot harder to make a connection with high fantasy series on audio. I've noticed that it helps to see names and place titles and all that spelled out. And I don't know, audiobooks, I love reading audiobooks, and some of them get it really, really right. But Throne of Glass just didn't translate well. It was too confusing, too high fantasy. I loved Selena. I thought she was a great main character, and I loved the whole thing about the witches and the Iron Teeth. Was it Iron Teeth? Yes. And I thought that could have been a fantastic story just by itself, but together it was all too much. I do believe I loved the 3rd book more than the first 2, but it just got drawn out so far that first love triangle ended up feeling yeah, right, good, really redundant. It's like she started to go one direction and totally switched another. I think as an author, you can do that, but you got to be real careful about how you backtrack. And I don't think Sarah J. Maas did that well then. The next series is incredibly dear to my heart. Didn't even have to think about it. It's going straight to God tier. This is The Fog, the Fire, and the Snow, the Losing Christina series by Carolyn B. Cooney. This is really, really old, but I have read it, no joke, 50 to 60 times, the 3 books, over and over and over again. I just absolutely love them. Carolyn B. Cooney always really spoke to me as a writer. She always did the YA thing well with those cheap thrills you love in YA, but she had this beautiful way of describing things, and there was always something just that little edgy and that little out there about her series. This series is fantastic because the whole point of it is it's not fantasy, but it's about sociopaths. So this young girl grows up on an island off the coast of Maine, and there's only school to grade 6. So once you're finished grade 6 or grade 5, you go over to the mainland and you finish high school. You start high school over on the mainland. These kids, a group of kids that are Christina's friends, have been going there for a while. This is her first year going to the mainland, and the first year they're all moving in with this family called the Shevingtons, and the Shevingtons are evil. He's the principal of the high school, and the wife is the English teacher, and they just like to destroy girls. That's basically what they do for a living. They rip the personality out of people. It's like the ultimate bully story, and this is about this young girl who's an outsider trying to find her feet and follow all her dreams when she's got these people that are just trying to take her down. It is an amazing series. Just at the end, it's got that. So yeah, highly recommend that. If you haven't read it, even if you're too old to start YA now, or you're not into the older stuff, just give it a go anyway. I think it's an absolutely beautiful story. Next one, Delirium. Where did I put this? Where would I put this? I did. Yeah, okay. Delirium was okay. I remember reading the first book on audio again when I was driving somewhere, and unlike Throne of Glass, this did translate really, really well to audio. Really enjoyed it, but again, it had a bit of that depressing undertone that I'm not really looking for. And you'd think in dystopian would go hand in hand, but not for me. God, I'm saying a lot, aren't I? I don't know, it was a nice story, but it just didn't seem like it was going to go anywhere by the end. It just didn't feel like I had that momentum to really push off and be addictive. So I'm going to put that in okay. It's good for what it was, but I don't think I'll be continuing with it or reading more. Next one, Ashes to Ashes by Jenny Han and Sayaban Vivian. This is going in God tier. I was pleasantly surprised by this book. Like, I really loved To All the Boys I Loved Before, but when I got to Ashes and Ashes, it reminded me a lot of Carolyn B. Cooney. Actually, there's something edgy, and it's about like sociopath traits and bullying and just how this group of teens enact with each other. Sayaban Vivian is a great edgy, gritty writer, especially for YA. And then you've got Jenny Han, who's like all sweet and flowery and perky. So you put those two together, and I just thought it went beautifully. I love the series, and it was different. It has a bit of a paranormal romance element to it, but that's not why you read it. It's just a great story about overcoming personal demons and other people's personal demons. Court of Thorns and Roses. Where did I put you? Yes, I did take notes. I apologize if that's not cool, but Court of Thorns and Roses is Demigod. It might be surprising considering how I went with the first Sarah J. Maas book, but, well, the difference is I actually read these in paperback before I listened to the audio, and I can read these again and again. It's still high fantasy. There's still a lot of world building, and it could get a bit overwhelming, but I know she just does it so much better. Everything's a lot more separate. You are only introduced to the kingdoms really as you come to them, so you're not trying to take in an overload of information at once. I thought the main character was a fantastic character. I really liked Tamlin in the first book, and I guess that's what we were supposed to do, but I am so team Rhysand. He was wonderful, and he's always the kind of book boyfriend I'm looking for, that kind of sassy, badass guy. That's the kind I like. So, no, Court of Thorns and Roses was great, and I really did like the ending. Was never a fan of Nesta and the other sister, who's I've actually forgotten. Elaine, Nesta and Elaine. But I have read this a couple of times, and yeah, I will read it again. Definitely a book I'd recommend to someone looking to get into high fantasy, but who's sort of there for the romance. Very strong female heroine too. That always gets points with me. Okay, Fallen. I'm going to the okay tier. Fallen was my first real paranormal romance after Twilight. I think it's probably going to be the case for a lot of people. It's more of my husband's taste. If you look behind me, you see this shelf of paranormal romance in the YA genre. That's mostly my husband. He's got a huge thing for this, and he told me I'd really like this, and I do. I love the angels and demons. I love the love triangle. I wasn't a big fan of the two main characters, so that's why it's not better than okay. I liked the other guy. Isn't it funny how a love triangle can do that to you? You can make or break a book. I can only imagine if I was a Team Jacob fan, how it would have been by the end of Twilight. But no, Fallen was good. I think it went on longer than it had to. It dragged out a bit too much. That could have been done beautifully in just the one book if she'd cut out some of all the going back to the past life stuff. But no, it was good. It was okay. I'd tell my teenage daughter to read it for sure. Next one, Book of Ivy. I'm going to go into Demigod or Great. Great. It probably would be great Demigod just based on the first book alone, because it's only a duology, and I thought the second book was very quiet and gentle and sad and kind of meandered. It brings down the whole series for me. It was still a fantastic book. It was beautifully written. It was simple, nice, clear world building. The author didn't try to get too purple with the prose. I just really, really liked it. That's how I would like to write. That's how I think YA dystopians should be written. Exactly that sort of tone. Very similar to Suzanne Collins, actually, except Suzanne Collins's imagination went way out, whereas Ivy only concentrates on the one spot. But Amy Engel, I should say, only concentrates on that one little part of the world. But still, it was flushed out. The main character was strong and not as much of a Mary Jane as I usually are. I know, I just really, really enjoyed it, but I was disappointed by the second one, so that's going into great. I feel like it should get a lot more attention than it does, but it doesn't. So next one. You can see I'm looking at my notes, but I'm not actually reading the notes. I'm just looking at what order I put the books in. Cinder. Again, great. Probably could be demigod if I'd stuck with the series and I'd read it all in one hit. And you know what? I will reread this series again and I might end up ranking the whole thing higher. But what happened with me was I loved Cinder. I loved the whole fairy tale aspect. I loved the characters. I loved the setting, putting that sort of Asian spice to it, that thing on TikTok, that little spice to it. That was a great way to come at the story. And the second one I really liked as well. They did lose me with Winter. Was Winter when they started going out of space? Was that all the spaceships and stuff? I'm not into planet travels. I'm not a huge sci-fi fan, so that definitely lost a bit of for me. I don't think my husband's finished the series, but he'll probably love that because he loves sci-fi and YA, you know, fantasy, paranormal romance. So he would probably love that series if he completed it. But I just remember looking at Winter and it was so big and it was so much about space. So I think I didn't finish it, but I will. Beautiful writing, great storytelling, definitely belongs in the great category. Next one, The Selection. This is going to upset some people, but what can I say? This has everything I'm looking for. Actually, probably like a lot of people started reading it because it got such a bad review from Wendy Darling, and that was when I was new to Goodreads. I was like, oh my god, this can actually happen to authors. Oh my god. And then I read it and I was pleasantly surprised by how much I liked it. I actually agree with a lot of Wendy Darling's reviews. Not this one in this case. I don't know. It's for me. It's like I said at the beginning of this video. It is very much for me. I did not like American Singer as a character completely. And I did not like Aspen or that love triangle aspect of it. But I liked the way America handled and overcame, and she got better as a character. Exactly. She started off as a really crap character, but luckily by the end she managed to sort herself out and sort of hard out and decide to actually stick with what was best for others instead of what was just best for her. I guess it's how you say it. I loved the one. I thought that was fantastic. But it was, I don't know, it's like, again, it's got everything I'm in this for. It's got a love triangle, which I love. It's dystopian. It's a glamorous dystopian. So it's not just all grit and depressing. And I thought it was very relatable with how we actually treat marriage. Like you could see this happening one day, not with a monarchy probably, but you can totally see Donald Trump choosing a wife off a reality TV show. So yeah, you could wrap your head around it, how people get attached to different characters. I actually liked a lot of the characters in it too, like not just the leads, but the side character. I thought Maxon was an absolute darling. Definitely never going to be God because the writing wasn't that fantastic, but it was fun and it had a triumphant ending that was uplifting, and she grew as a character. So yeah, sorry, come at me if you want, but no, demigod. To all the boys I loved before, I'm going to go in good, great, good, yeah, good. It's not quite on par with Cinder, Book of Ivy. This was a beautiful story. As someone who grew up reading in the 80s and 90s, Jenny Han is as close to my Sweet Valley High and Babysitters Club as a writer's going to get. She's sweet, she's cute, she's a little bit of edge of realistic to stop it from making you sort of nauseous, but no, that was a fun book to read. It was very old school romance, so it's just going in good there. I really enjoyed the first movie too. I haven't watched the second one yet, but the first movie was really good. They adapted that well. All right, The Uglies. Not for me. Oh, I feel bad about this one. This was okay. No, I'm gonna put it in. Okay. Oh no, my mouse just went. Don't go, mouse. Okay, it's decided. The Uglies is gonna go in okay. Not for me. It's really not. But it's also, I don't think it's bad in any way. It was a great first book. And if it just been the first book, I think I really would have enjoyed that. If it just had her getting out. What really struck me about this book was how like A Clockwork Orange it was, which might sound weird given how sort of shallow this book is. I guess Clockwork Orange, the start of it was shallow too. At the very beginning, you're reading the first page and it sounds like absolute gobbledygook. And you're like, what's this word? The slang, because there's so much slang. But then after a while, you realize as you're going along, you're actually starting to respond to the language as if it's one that's familiar with you. And the author, Scott Westerfeld, did that really, really well. Enjoyed that. Loved the start of it. Reminded me of the bits of the Hunger Games you love when it's set in the capital. to show that sort of glamorous dystopian world. So that was very cool. Then when you get into the second book and she starts, spoiler alert, kind of screwing people over, you're like, nah, not for me. So it's not for me, but it's going in okay because the author had a lot of fun with language, and I don't think I'll ever finish it, but I'm definitely not saying I definitely won't finish it. So yeah, that's okay. Red Queen. Oh, this sucks. Great. Okay, it's going in great. This first book had so much promise. It was so good. It was like, I think Victoria Aveyard was a screenwriter or something, was she? So, and that came across. It read like the opening of a blockbuster movie. The best parts of World War Z and the Hunger Games and Troy, all that kind of huge arena stuff. I absolutely loved it. Loved where the character went. Loved the ending of the first book. And then I don't know what happened with the second and the third. The loyalties all shifting, and the character didn't seem to know what she wanted. She just very much became another Katniss, and she wasn't that likable to begin with. The way Katniss was, she wasn't as selfless or sacrificing. So I just don't think the main character really pulled that book off well, though. But it was a great first book to read, and I've actually reread the first book 2 or 3 times now. I really, really enjoy reading about how Mare first gets into that world, but I don't like where she goes in the world afterwards. So Red Queen is just great. I did love all the twists and stuff like that. I think Game of Thrones fans might really enjoy this. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm actually not a Game of Thrones fan, but no, that was good fun. Judy Blume, here is another retro. This is vintage as it gets, just as long as we're together. This is going in the demigod tier. I love this book series. It is so young YA that it's practically middle grade. I think they're like year 7, year 8 as these books progress. So it is technically young adult, I guess. It could be who cares? All that matters to me is that I still read it now. I only discovered this when I was in my early 20s, I think, after I'd read, Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret, and everything heaps when I was actually a teenager, but this one I didn't find until I was an adult. I just love Judy Blume's writing. I love her characters. She makes big stories out of little things. This one is just about how 3 girls go when, 2 best friends go when they start high school, and then when a new girl comes into the mix and they start dating and going through puberty, it's about how their friendships change and their view of the world and how they judge themselves. It's a very small story, but it's beautiful. And I think the second book is Here's to You, Rachel Robinson, and that was great too. So it's only technically a duology. I don't even know if it's YA, but I think if you enjoy any of these books that I have here in God or Demigod tier, all great, even, all good. If you enjoy any of these books, you might actually love Judy Blume just as long as we're together. So try it out sometime. Great characters. Wake. That's going in okay. This is another flashback to my mermaid fiction, my love of mermaids, but this is actually about sirens. This was a great series. It's more on the land stuff. There didn't spend the whole thing underwater or flying around. The characters were edgy. The writing was nice and clear. I think Amanda Hocking did something really, really cool with this series. It wasn't for me because I guess I'm not a huge sirens fan, and it was a bit young, just a little bit sort of like Tempest Rising, but the story was a lot more interesting. So okay, if you're looking for underwater adventures or that sort of aspect of fairy tale, sirens, mermaids, probably definitely suggest Wake ahead of Tempest Rising. Tempest Rising is more like for the 13-year-old discovering mermaids. Wake is more for someone in the young adult genre looking for something like an introduction into the world. Very cool characters. It was very edgy. It was fun. It was an adventure. I don't know. Did I finish it? So I'm just scanning my bookshelves here. Yes, I did finish it. It's good. Yeah, it's a good series, although I don't remember the ending, so that's why it's only an okay and not in good. It's Not Summer Without You, Jenny Han. I'm going to put this in the good tier right there with To All the Boys I Loved Before. This is a book that you take to the beach. It is just a sweet summer romance about a girl that goes back to the same place every summer with a guy she likes and how she grows up and gets more on his radar. Again, it's if you're a fan of Sweet Valley High or Babysitter's Club growing up, and then as an adult you still like reading YA romance, Judy Blume and Carolyn B. Cooney, you can't go wrong, especially if you've already shown interest in Jenny Han. For sure, they're fun. It's all it's funny how relative it is. They got A Court of Thorns and Roses. I think it's for the Sarah J. Maas fans who are a bit softer, a bit more there for the sexy and the love. And then Throne of Glass is a bit more there for the ones that like the high fantasy and a bit gritty, a bit more depressing, and everything's sort of all over the place. So that's where Jenny Han fits into sort of the Court of Thorns and Roses. And then if you want young adult for the gritty, you go with Saban Vivian. The List is really good. Check that out. I can't put on here because it's not a series, but it's a great book. Okay, Tomorrow When the War Began. Boom. I don't know if I've only got Australians watching this, or if there's any Americans, or if it's one middle-aged guy that got lost. Tomorrow When the War Began is an Australian series, and it is God. That is as God as it gets for me. It's a beautiful dystopian series about a group of Australian teenagers that go out camping. While they're camping, Australia is invaded, and they end up having to become like guerrilla military, sort of trying to fight back and claim little bits of their country town back. It is a beautiful story. John Marsden is one of my top 3 favorite authors. He created an amazing world. And what I love the most about Tomorrow When the War Began is that every book has got those 2 scenes in it that you come for, that you got the popcorn for. Do you know what I mean? Like in Hunger Games, it's the very start when she goes into the cornucopia and everything that happens immediately after. And in Red Queen, it was when she's in the arena and the floor goes up and all that. In Twilight, it's the Breaking Dawn when they're about to face off against each other, or the wedding, even the wedding in Twilight. It's what you came for with the popcorn. Tomorrow When the War Began's got moments like that. At least 2 big, awesome battle scenes in every single book, and it's action done right. It's fun. It's not too confusing. It's believable. It's like an adventure. I used to actually daydream about doing. They make us read this in high school here, and I've met him a few times and a massive fan, but he's just amazing writing. If I don't get it when I see on Goodreads that people read it, I'm like, oh, what's going on here? It's an amazing series. I've reread this one so much. I could open a page and tell you exactly where we are off one sentence. I can quote a lot of it word for word. I didn't love the follow-up series, the Ellie Chronicles. That would probably go in trash for me. As much as I love John Marsden's writing, the Ellie Chronicles was horrible. It should have ended where it ended, and I wish all authors would kind of do that. But Tomorrow When the War Began, absolutely masterful. If you like any of the books I like on God or Demigod, and you like adventure, and you're sort of interested in Australian stuff, definitely go for Tomorrow When the War Began. It was a movie. The movie was great. It's also been made into a TV show, which I don't love because it deviates from the original books. But I really wish the same production company had done all 7 books into the movies. That would be my fondest book lover wish ever, because they did that first movie great. But God tier. But just The Hunger Games and Catching Fire are God tier. I can read them over and over again. I remember reading them, devouring them. You know what I mean? Someone recommended it to me, and from the first page of Hunger Games, I was hooked, and I sped through it. And then I read Catching Fire, and I loved it. And it's the same with the movies; they're amazing. And then you get to Mockingjay, it's like, what did you just do? You had me on this great ride, and then it's like going up a roller coaster and then just falling off the end of it. I do not like the choices she made there. I get why she made them, get what she's trying to say about war and how it actually impacts people's lives. But if I want to know about how war impacts people's lives in depth, I'd be watching documentaries on it on the news. I wouldn't be reading YA dystopian fiction. I found that really disappointing. I'm not going to lie. I hate Mockingjay with a passion. But the first 2 books are possibly the best 2 books I've ever read in my entire... Yes. No. Twilight Eyes is in there too. It's a different book. Stephen Kuhn's not Twilight Eyes, but no, those 2 top 5 at least. They're amazing, and the movies are amazing. But I didn't like where the love triangle went. I didn't like how depressed she ended up. I didn't like the character deaths in the end. I don't like the way a certain character was made into a bad guy. I like the thing with who she actually shot in the end. I thought that was very cool, but that book broke my heart. So Hunger Games and Catching Fire definitely belong in God tier, but I just pretend Mockingjay never happened. In my head, there's no Mockingjay. Well, at least I can watch the first Mockingjay movie. That's great, but I haven't even seen the 4th Hunger Games movie, believe it or not. As much as I love that series, can't do it. But I can reread the first 2 books over and over again. Divergent. Not for me. It was really, really good. It wasn't the first time you read it. It was a bit of a thrill, especially coming off the back of the Hunger Games. But I didn't love Divergent. I could never, as fun as the first story was, and as good as the characters were, and as clear as the writing was, the whole caste system just never sat right with me. Of course, it makes sense when you know how it ends, but I couldn't work my head around that whole idea of amity and all that. That would never happen. I don't care what happens and how the world changes. People would never be separated by their personality. It would be race or religion first. There's no way it would happen by personality. So no, and I didn't like where that one is. I don't like depressing stuff. That's just how I am. More unpopular opinions. Where am I going to go? Harry Potter. Good. I totally get why so many of you love it. I can see it. But I was an adult when this came out, and I don't like wizards and wands and these sort of soft magic systems. I don't like it when a plot can suddenly be changed drastically by somebody going, oh, I can fix this problem with this spell that we've never heard of before. I don't like it. The world building was fantastic. I actually really enjoyed watching the first half of this movie, but as soon as I get past the hat scene in the school, I lose interest. It's just too young for me and too magical. I really appreciate, as someone who was there when all the bookshops shut down the first time around, I was terrified. But Harry Potter and Twilight kept people interested in reading, got people reading more ebooks, and that made people want paperback books again. So for that, I will always thank them for bringing us back from the brink there. But no, it's not for me. It's just too young and too cutesy and too not my sort of thing at all. Six of Crows. I only read this last week. Good. Yeah, it's good. It's, again, like with Throne of Glass, I made the mistake of listening to this on audiobook. It probably would have been a lot better if I'd actually read a paperback copy, but there was so much going on and the characters were so involved. And then they put so much info in. I don't know, I just found like the first half of the book was an incredibly slow start. And then once it did start, things just kept, I don't know, it was too complicated. The characters were great, but I'm not really into the heist thing. I'm not really into high fantasy, so it wasn't for me. I can understand if you were a fan of that particular genre, it'd be fantastic. I can see why people would put it in God tier, for real. I loved some of the character descriptions, but I didn't like the structure of the book. It just took so long. I really had to force myself. It was one of those audiobooks, and I kept looking at the hours left, trying to see when is this over. Whereas in contrast, the next day I started The Cruel Prince, which I am 2 hours and 55 minutes away from finishing, and that's actually flown by compared to Six of Crows. I don't know what the difference is in length because I don't have the paperback books to measure, but The Cruel Prince has just gone like that, whereas the Six of Crows just really seemed to drag on even at the end, and then there was another ending, and there's another ending, and there's another ending. It's like, is anything ever going to be resolved? And then no, it wasn't resolved. We just got to read the second one. So yeah, not for me. Beautiful writing though, can't hate. Fault in Our Stars. Is this a series? I don't even know if this belongs here. Look, I'm just going to put it in great here. I really enjoyed that story, but I don't know if that actually, I don't even know how it got there, but it was a very beautiful writing. John Green is a great writer. Again, it's a bit sad. If you're looking to, you really have to be in the mood for that kind of book, but it was a beautiful story and well told. Okay, so that's it. God, I'm going to put Ashes from God to Demigod. Yes, that is how my God tier should look. Hunger Games, Tomorrow and the War Began, The Fog, and Twilight. Ashes to Ashes was great, don't get me wrong. I just don't know how well it will age. You see, these 4 I've seen age, and for me they've aged well. Ashes to Ashes, I only really read it about 3 years ago, I think, and I've only read it twice, and I don't like the ending. So yeah, Demigod seems like a great spot for that. That's my list. So that's my list. I promised my kids that if I started YouTubing, I wouldn't ask for likes, comments, or to subscribe. I would like comments, so it would be fantastic if people could recommend some books to me they think I'd love, or if you just want to chat books in general. You can also find me on TikTok and Instagram and here as The Articulate SK, and I have a page on Facebook called The Fairy Tale Saga. That's my books, though I don't plan on vlogging my books, so that's fine. But if you are a Facebook person, that's where I am. And also on Goodreads under Goodreads under SK Munt. So thank you so much for your time, and I hope to connect with you all in the future.